Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, is well known today for her strong and respectful relationship with the royal family. After marrying Prince Edward, Sophie became a close confidante of the late Queen Elizabeth. This is especially remarkable considering that Elizabeth had long struggled to establish such warm relations with Camilla, Queen Consort, the wife of her eldest son and successor, King Charles. As a royal aide once noted, "I think it's because she never makes any demands of Her Majesty. When the Queen appears, even at private family events, a crowd quickly gathers around her. The Countess always stays in the background, and I think the Queen appreciates that." However, Sophie's relationship with the royal family was not always so smooth. Although Sophie now enjoys the privileged life of a duchess and a fashion enthusiast, she has endured numerous tragedies. The challenges she has faced have taught Sophie to appreciate what she has and have driven her to participate in numerous charitable initiatives that have become truly important to her. The Duchess of Edinburgh may now live in luxury, but her roots are quite modest. Sophie was born in 1965 to a middle-class family. Her father, Christopher Rhys-Jones, was a salesman, and her mother, Mary O'Sullivan, worked as a secretary. Despite the seemingly ordinary nature of her childhood, Sophie reportedly had difficulties in her relationship with her mother. This continued into her adult life when her husband, Prince Edward, also struggled to build a close relationship with his mother-in-law. "I have tried very hard with her, but it is impossible," Edward confessed. Mary O'Sullivan had a difficult childhood, losing both her father and stepfather at a young age, which likely explains her challenges in relating to her daughter. When Sophie became a mother herself, she reportedly found it difficult to embrace the role, as she did not have a strong maternal example in her life. However, over time, she developed a close bond with her mother-in-law, Queen Elizabeth, who always looked out for her. In 2019, Sophie even referred to the Queen as her mama. "When I returned from my travels, I was proud to share with you the work I witnessed being done under the Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee Trust." She affectionately addressed her mother-in-law at a reception at Buckingham Palace, showing the role Elizabeth played in Sophie's life as a surrogate mother. Before marrying Prince Edward, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, worked in a PR agency and had many well-known acquaintances, including British television presenter Chris Tarrant from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and DJ Cara Noble. In 1988, Sophie, Tarrant, and Noble went to Spain on a business trip, where the Duchess was photographed. These were personal photos. In 1999, before Sophie and Edward's wedding, Noble sold these photos to a well-known tabloid. Accordingly, the scandalous newspaper published the pictures without Sophie's consent, which was a huge blow to her and a betrayal of trust. Noble, who took the photos, was soon fired from the radio station. I remember Sophie calling me early in the morning in tears when she found out that these photos were going to be published, recalled her former colleague Murray Harkin in an interview. She was so upset because she felt she was letting everyone down before the wedding. Later, the publication apologized to the Duchess and stated that it would no longer publish such photos. In the spring of 2001, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, found herself at the center of one of the biggest royal scandals. An undercover journalist from the now defunct News of the World, Masher Mahmoud, posed as a sheikh supposedly interested in doing business with Sophie's PR agency. As a result of the sting operation, Sophie and her business partner, Murray Harkin, were tricked into making several harsh remarks about the royal family and then Prime Minister Tony Blair, all while being secretly recorded. The pair also offered the sheikh exclusive access to members of the royal family, which caused a scandal since royals are not supposed to use their position for personal gain. This scandal caused a storm of outrage. Queen Elizabeth was deeply upset by the incident, but she continued to support her daughter-in-law. As a result of the scandal, the Duchess left the agency. "I am deeply distressed by the entrapment operation carried out on me and my business, but I also regret my own poor judgment in succumbing to this deception," she said. Although this scandal temporarily damaged Sophie's reputation, she managed to recover and became a full-fledged member of the royal family. After her wedding to Prince Edward in 1999, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, admitted that she was not in a hurry to have children. By 2001, she became pregnant with her first child, but suddenly felt unwell at home and was urgently taken to the hospital. As a result, Sophie required surgery and the Duchess faced a tragic loss. The couple had a hard time coping with this life experience. This year was especially difficult for Sophie, as she had previously found herself at the center of the news of the world scandal. In 2001, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, became pregnant again 2 years later, but this pregnancy was also difficult. In November 2003, a month before the expected birth, Sophie again felt unwell and was urgently taken to the hospital, where she had to go through this ordeal without her husband by her side. Prince Edward was in Mauritius at the time, but arrived in the UK the following day. The Queen visited her in the hospital, which was unheard of. Both mother and child were fine, but the Duchess required a long recovery period. It completely changed her character and affected how she related to her children, said a family friend in an interview. As a result of difficult childbirth, Lady Louise had to undergo several surgeries, and her mother later became an active supporter of various charities dealing with vision issues. Despite their difficult relationship, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, and her mother, Mary O'Sullivan, remained close. In 2005, O'Sullivan passed away. She was 71 years old. Sophie, of course, was deeply saddened by this loss. The Countess was very close to her mother, and this is a very sad time, said a Buckingham Palace representative. In 2021, Sophie spoke about her mother at a National Federation of Women's Institutes meeting, admitting that she found it difficult to come to terms with the loss. "I still miss her very much," she said. "There are moments when I hear music she loved or do something she would have wanted to hear about, and that makes her early departure very hard." Sophie made sure her mother spent time with her granddaughter, Lady Louise Windsor, who was less than 2 years old at the time. However, Mary O'Sullivan never saw her grandson, James, Earl of Wessex, who was born in 2007. "She missed out on so much, and I am particularly sad that she did not see my children grow up or how my work developed," Sophie recalled in her speech. Although Prince Philip was known for his reputation, often criticized, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, knew him from a different side. From the very beginning, Philip and Sophie shared a special closeness. She got along very well with Philip. She knew how to handle him, said royal expert Ingrid Seward. The Queen always found it a relief when women in the family knew how to deal with Philip. She could make him laugh and was not intimidated by his abruptness. When Philip passed away in 2021, a few months before his 100th birthday, Sophie was deeply saddened. "He left a huge void in our lives," she said. Queen Elizabeth was never the same after Prince Philip's death. Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, who, according to some sources, was the Queen's favorite child, supported Elizabeth through difficult times. In an interview, royal sources revealed that Sophie traveled 10 miles from her home at Bagshot Park to Windsor Castle several times a week to keep an eye on the Queen. Sophie Wessex has become the Queen's unexpected rock as the monarch adjusts to life without Prince Philip, said royal commentator Duncan Larcombe. A little over a year after her husband's death, in September 2022, Queen Elizabeth passed away at the age of 96. The late Queen was like a second mother to Sophie, so her death was like losing a mother all over again for the Duchess. The Queen's death has left an unimaginable void in our lives, Sophie and her husband, Prince Edward, said in an official statement. Sophie's life story, Duchess of Edinburgh, shows how resilience, dedication, and the ability to find strength in the most challenging situations can help overcome even the most difficult trials. Her journey from a modest childhood to a key figure in the royal family, her ability to maintain dignity in the face of tragedies and scandals, deserves great respect. Sophie has shown that true strength lies not only in a noble title, but in how one deals with life's challenges. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss new videos about the lives of the royal family and their influence on the modern world.